When rap mogul and music icon Sean "Diddy" Combs woke up this morning, his surroundings were anything but familiar. Instead of the luxury of his $48 million Miami mansion, he finds himself in the notorious Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, in Brooklyn, a place that's been described by former inmates and legal advocates alike as a hell on earth. This isn't a movie, this is Diddy's new reality. Stripped of his power and influence, and under constant watch, his life now revolves around surviving in a facility infamous for violent outbreaks, poor conditions, and allegations of human rights abuses. So, how does someone of his status and influence cope in such an environment, and what are the real dangers he faces? Diddy, one of hip-hop's most powerful moguls, is now living a life he never imagined. Accused of sex trafficking and racketeering, he's been denied bail twice. His legal team argues that his celebrity status makes him a high-profile target in a prison environment where violence is rampant, and even survival can be a daily struggle. But what exactly is he up against, and how has life at MDC impacted him so far? A facility with a dark reputation. Brooklyn's MDC has long held a reputation as one of America's most notorious federal facilities. Originally built to house around 1,200 detainees awaiting trial or serving short sentences, it has instead become infamous for overcrowding, inadequate medical care, and rampant violence. Housing a mix of criminals, from alleged gang members to white-collar offenders, MDC has had its share of high-profile detainees, including Ghislaine Maxwell, R. Kelly, and Martin Shkreli. But unlike the cushy accommodations some celebrities might expect, MDC's conditions are notoriously harsh. Over the past few years, MDC has made headlines for all the wrong reasons. In 2019, a power outage left inmates without heat or lights for a week in the middle of winter. The event sparked protests from inmates' families and advocates who called it inhumane. Further reports detail incidents of suicide, gang-related stabbings, and drug smuggling, sometimes allegedly with the involvement of facility staff. So, for someone like Diddy, used to a life of luxury and comfort, the adjustment to life in such an environment is monumental. Hell on earth, life inside MDC. For Diddy, his new life behind bars is a stark contrast to the luxury he once knew. According to his attorney, the rapper's life in jail is overwhelmingly difficult, with his legal team citing issues with the food as one of the toughest adjustments. But the poor quality of food is only a small part of the ordeal. Reports describe a daily routine marked by isolation, restricted movement, and constant monitoring. Unlike the freedom he once enjoyed, Diddy now spends up to 23 hours a day in his cell, only allowed out briefly for showers or limited recreational time. The Metropolitan Detention Center is designed with various levels of security, and Diddy is currently housed in the Special Housing Unit, SHU, a prison within a prison, often used for high-risk inmates. Here, detainees are kept isolated from the general population, either for their own safety or to prevent them from being a threat to others. But this isolation, while it might protect him from harm, comes with its own set of psychological challenges. The SHU's solitary environment is known to break even the strongest minds, as inmates are left alone with their thoughts, with little to no interaction with others. Psychological toll and mental health concerns. Since entering MDC, Diddy has been the subject of frequent psychological check-ins, a standard protocol for high-profile inmates facing extreme conditions. Although he's not officially on suicide watch, sources indicate that he undergoes daily mental health evaluations, reflecting the toll that jail conditions are taking on him. For a man used to controlling his own world, being confined within the prison's walls with limited freedoms has been described as mentally draining. Larry Levine, a former federal prisoner and prison consultant, provides insight into the psychological toll of MDC. He states that inmates in the SHU often experience loneliness, anxiety, and despair. Levine claims that the mental strain of life in isolation is compounded by a lack of basic necessities and a monotonous daily routine that can drive inmates to extreme measures. Family concerns and struggles on the outside. For Diddy, the hardest part might not be the conditions he faces inside MDC, but rather the toll his incarceration has on his family. With 7 children left behind, reports indicate that Diddy's primary concern is for his kids. Limited phone calls and restricted visiting hours mean that his contact with the outside world is minimal. Diddy's family recently released a statement expressing their love and support for him during this difficult time, but the uncertainty of his legal battle continues to cast a shadow over their lives. Violence and safety concerns. MDC is known for its violent incidents, and inmates with a high-profile status, like Diddy, are often targeted. For some inmates serving long sentences, attacking or harming a high-profile figure can be a way to gain respect or credibility within the prison system. According to reports from prison insiders, Diddy is considered an attractive target for assault, which is one reason he's being kept away from the general population. In recent years, the facility has seen multiple violent outbreaks, including a recent incident where a group of alleged MS-13 gang members stabbed an inmate 44 times. MDC's design, which houses inmates of all security levels together, creates an environment where violent confrontations are a constant risk. For Diddy, a single move into the general population could be life-threatening, with his status making him a potential victim in a system that's notoriously unforgiving. Celebrity privilege or survival. Despite the dire conditions, some reports suggest that Diddy might be receiving what could be considered preferential treatment, such as extra showers and special psychological check-ins. However, this level of attention, while offering minor comforts, only serves to emphasize his vulnerability. In a place like MDC, celebrity status doesn't grant freedom or luxury. It merely highlights the additional risks he faces. Larry Levine, who has worked with many high-profile inmates, explains that celebrity detainees often face a unique set of challenges. While some might assume their fame grants them privileges, it can actually place them at greater risk of violence, extortion, or psychological breakdown. In Diddy's case, every small comfort comes with the reminder of his newfound vulnerability, and every privilege only emphasizes his lack of control over his own fate. The road ahead: legal battles and bail denials. Diddy's legal team is fighting for a change in his detention conditions, even suggesting that he be moved to a less restrictive facility in New Jersey. But with the seriousness of the charges against him, which include sex trafficking and racketeering, it's unclear whether these requests will be granted. A judge has already denied his bail request twice, citing the risk of flight and the severity of his alleged crimes. With each legal setback, Diddy's situation becomes more precarious. As he awaits trial, his future remains uncertain. The MDC's conditions and his isolated confinement could impact his ability to mount a defense, further complicating his legal situation. The price of fame. For now, Diddy's life is a test of resilience. The music mogul who once ruled the world of hip-hop now faces an uncertain future, living in conditions described as some of the worst in the U.S. prison system. Each day inside MDC is a stark reminder of how quickly life can change,